Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for stopping by. We are actually coming up on that halfway point for Season 4 here pretty soon. We've got a few scheduled updates left before we're in that mid-season period for Season 4. As of right now, the end date for the season is sitting around August 10th and 11th, meaning the middle of July is when we should see the next major update occur. That would be the whole mid-season update, or the Reloaded update as it's also known. And surprisingly, we already have several changes confirmed and or previewed for our next major title update. So as we break them all down today, if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it, would be seriously appreciated. And of course, if you're new to the channel or if you haven't already subscribed, I am always covering everything going on in Call of Duty, news, updates, loadouts, all sorts of stuff like that. So feel free to subscribe, that way you can always stay up to date. Also, gotta give a big shout out to Gamer Advantage. You guys see me rocking the glasses in all the face cam videos. Blue light protection is key, folks. Helps you sleep better, feel better, all that stuff. I love them. And they also offer prescription lenses as well, which is super cool. If you want to grab a pair for yourself, code WhosImmortal has got you covered. Now, first and foremost, like I said, the middle of July is when the Reloaded update should happen for Season 4. I would say the 13th or the 20th would be the most likely dates for that. But as we get more information on the approximate release date for the update, I'll be sure to keep you guys updated in a future video. But for now, that's the expected time for most of these changes to take place. But as we've seen a handful of times recently, random updates can sort of come out in between then and now with like weapon tuning or other big game-breaking bug fixes or anything urgent like that. So it's possible we see some of this stuff happen earlier than the mid-season update for what it's worth. But anyway, let's start first on the Trello board and break down what's going on there that we know is being looked into by Raven or by Treyarch. As far as the Cold War stuff goes here, there's really not all that much going on that's newer that we haven't already covered in the past, so there's really not much to cover on that front for the time being. But as we get into some of the content stuff towards the end of the video, we'll sort of circle around back to Cold War because we know there's going to be some big things there in terms of actual seasonal content. Then on the Trello board, we've got the Warzone tab, which has several things currently under investigation, and that means Raven is looking into all these issues and should have fixes out for them at some point in the near future. So one issue that is a very common topic every time we look at the previewed changes for the next update is the various map exploits. You know, all the out of bounds areas that are reachable via some cheesy tactics where you're glitching through walls and whatnot. They already have some new fixes scheduled for map exploits. So any exploitable areas right now, wall breaches and whatnot, those will be fixed here with the mid-season patch. Now, Raven is also working on fixing the constant install loop for updates that makes you just keep downloading the patches over and over and over and over again. This has been a problem for a long time now on console, but the Reloaded update should have some fixes for that. Now, Xbox also has several big issues going on right now. The Trello board is currently heavily Xbox themed, if you will. For one, there's the whole black screen issue where at the end of the game, when the helicopter exfil scene starts, Xbox players can get a black screen, and the only way to fix that is to restart the game and or the console, which means all the stats for that game for that player who had to restart do not count whatsoever. So, hey, if you had a bad game and you died a bunch and you lost, then that game wouldn't count. Maybe that's not the worst thing in the world. However, if you won that match and popped off and you got a new PR, and then you got the black screen, that win and all those kills do not count, which is obviously a very problematic issue. Xbox also has a memory error crash going on right now that's very common. It's triggered at the end of the game sometimes, or even in the middle sometimes as well. Very similar to like all the memory errors and dev errors that PC has. Some of those aren't mentioned on the Trello board, but Raven is aware of those. They're pretty constant. They're very, very annoying. I know I, for one, constantly have memory errors when I play for like 3 or 4 hours at a time. It's like you always have to reset your game on timed intervals. Otherwise, you're going to run into those. Super annoying, but like I said, Raven is looking into those. Hopefully, the mid-season update finally fixes them. Then there's also a big issue going on with Verdansk on Xbox right now, where players literally cannot play the map at all. The game just kicks them back to the main menu whenever they try to queue into Verdansk 84. Rebirth, on the other hand, that's totally fine. You can play that as normal, but Verdansk is essentially off limits for Xbox players on certain days. So that's being looked into, and hopefully that'll be fixed earlier than the mid-season update, honestly, because, you know, let's be honest, it's a pretty game-breaking bug. Then, outside of the Trello board, Raven has previewed a few other changes and updates coming soon. On Twitter, they mentioned a fix to glitch scavenger contracts. Pretty much ever since the Season 4 update, depending on where you grab a scavenger contract, sometimes one of the three can spawn in some unreachable locations. In downtown, for instance, a scavenger can actually spawn inside of the Nakatomi Vault, which obviously you cannot end up getting into anymore. I know I was watching one of Jay's spectating videos the other day, And the poor guy he was watching was trying to get a scavenger done, and one spawned inside of the vault. It was lost forever, and the guy could not figure out how to get in it, or the fact that you couldn't get into it, rather, I guess. So that's one area that's very busted. Sometimes scavenger chests can spawn inside of the red door rooms, which obviously you can't get into unless someone opens the door from the inside. So if you get a scav spawn in there and no one teleports to that room and then leaves like right away, then just like the vault, you have no way to get in there unless you run across the map and you know exactly which red door spawn location would actually teleport you into that room, which at that point, the scavenger really isn't even worth doing anymore because the room itself will just give you the legendary chests with plenty of cash, right? So scavenger contracts as a whole are pretty busted in certain areas. Now, one fix that we talked about a while ago that somehow still has not been put into the game yet is a nerf to the sun. And yes, that is actually a thing. We always talk about how this gun needs a nerf, or that gun needs a nerf, this attachment needs a nerf. Never did I think we'd be talking about how the sun itself needs a nerf. But lo and behold, here on Verdansk 84, the sun is blindingly bright, and the lens flare effect you get when it sort of clips behind certain objects or buildings is very distracting and makes things really hard to like just focus on and see in general. A while ago, Reed, who is the lead VFX guy over at Raven, said he would be fixing the lens flares, but nothing has come of that yet. The tweet was actually deleted after his account was temporarily down, so there's no tweet still live saying that fix would be coming. However, he has follow-up tweets saying that he'd be working on it that are not removed. Those are still live and visible, so by all indications, it's a fix that is still on deck for a future update, and hopefully it's one that the mid-season update brings to the game, because I would just like to see either that or you got to add in some sunglasses in-game, or better yet, you could pick up some Gamer Advantage glasses. They have sun clips available. Hey, I'm just saying. Shameless plug, but it honestly would kind of work, right? Anyways, Raven also mentioned how they would like to add in a new counter to dead silence in the form of some kind of perk update. We've sort of talked about this one a bit recently. This is another update that's probably going to be coming with the mid-season patch. And honestly, it could be very interesting to finally see some shifts in the perk meta after it being pretty stagnant and really not changing at all for a very, very long time now. Also, back when Season 4 initially launched, Raven did mention that in a future patch, which we can all assume is going to be the mid-season update, they're planning on actually doing a big weapon balance change to a lot of weapons. They call it a sweeping balance change. They're actually going to increase the TTK by approximately 60 to 100 milliseconds across the board as like the global average. So it's very possible that with the mid-season update, we see a big TTK update in general. I guess you could say a big TTK change because of all the weapon balancing. Then to close things out, there's a bit of confirmed content for the mid-season update already. We'll cover content in general more in depth in a later video once we know more about the update itself. However, a new zombies map, Mauer der Toten, is confirmed for Cold War, and we should be seeing some new weapons added in. The OTS-9 SMG is one that'll likely be dropping then for Cold War and Warzone, so we're going to have some new content in each title and plenty of back-end changes and gameplay adjustments too. With all of that being said, that is effectively going to wrap things up for today. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. Would be seriously appreciated. And of course, if you're new here and you want to stay up to date with everything going on in COD, whether it be news, intel, updates, loadouts, tips, or really anything else in between, we've got it all right here. So feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on. That way you'll always know whenever I upload a new video. As always, if you want to check out any of my partners, be sure to use code WhosImmortal for a discount on all Scuff, G Fuel, Gamer Advantage, and Control Freak products. The links for all those can be found down in the description below. But once again, thanks so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.